Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of today, Sunday, 10/10, through Saturday to come, 10/16. 10/10 means a lot to me. Some of you may know that if you've been watching me for a while now, years maybe, you would have heard me consider before out loud in front of you changing my name, like legally, to MaX or MX, capital M, capital X, or spelled capital M, lowercase a, capital X. MX being or meaning 1010 in Roman numerals, or 1010, and having a special connection or affinity for John 10:10. Basically the thief or the devil comes to steal and kill, but I come so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. And I like to think that my work has done that. I've tried to help people live and have life more abundantly, and to learn for themselves how to get rid of the thief or devil in their life or lives. So maybe that's why I waited till today to finally record, because I could have done it, in all honesty, over the past couple days, and did not, for whatever reasons unbeknownst even to myself. But we're going to get started right now, beginning with the dice and eat cake, massage, and forget it. Spirit says no. But also sex. Hopefully that doesn't mean no sex, because that would kind of suck, depending on your situation. And 29, so especially in consideration of 29, I hope it doesn't mean no sex. 29, of course, spiritual partnership, although that doesn't have to mean romantic partnership. It certainly can, and in those cases you may want sex. You may want, yes, sex. Anyway, moving on with the cards, we're starting with Perseverance, the King of Pentacles. Let me show you. Perseverance. You may feel like you are getting nowhere, but there are wonderful changes ahead. Don't give up. This is kind of like a Nine of Wands kind of feel from what I'm getting from this. It's followed by love life, also upright. Affairs of the heart could cause future problems, but take heart, as difficult situations will be resolved by a good decision this week. So not like sometime in the future that you got to wait for and see, did it happen, did it not happen? This week, you'll be presented with an opportunity to make this decision. And it may be connected, right? Perseverance, not giving up on a relationship. Maybe you're going through some sort of difficulties, but not giving up despite what you're dealing with. You'll make the right choice, and that will have positive results for you, whether that means in the relationship itself or in maybe getting out of it and moving on in your future to something better. Also, we have society that is upright. Say yes to all the wonderful invitations coming your way. Excellent networking opportunities and new love interests for singles will be the result. So that may be the case too. Like, don't give up on your love life or trying to meet a mate that's appropriate for you, even if you may be having some difficulty, maybe meeting some people that are toxic, at least in relation to you. Take advantage of opportunities that you get to go out and meet new people, because your time is coming. Now, with that in mind, the King of Pentacles is one of those sweep you off your feet cards in terms of love and relationship. King of Pentacles, possibly an actual Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. He is generous. He is often an authority, a leader, like a good strategic, business person, businessman. He sort of has a commanding presence, and with that could possibly intimidate you, but specifically as it relates to love, when this card shows up, it is a warning, that again, you could be swept off your feet, especially if you're single, but not to try to pretend to be anything or anybody but yourself. Even if you feel intimidated by, the wonder that is the King of Pentacles, or that you don't necessarily measure up or whatever, this is the type of person who will love you, for who and what you are, if they're going to love you. They will be turned off if you are phony and you pretend to be somebody that you're not. So warning. And we have the Lovers also showing up with the other decks, Angel and Animal Tarots. Well, true and long-lasting love finds its way into your life. Follow your heart with caring actions and choices. The Lovers most directly represents the sign of Gemini in the tarot. So, you know, there could be messages specifically for Geminis with regard to perseverance, maybe in your business life, you know, not giving up, because there's some sort of good opportunity for money in or business in your life. It could be with relation to love, maybe specifically with an earth sign, or maybe with another Gemini, possibly a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or somebody, you know, earth sign like, in that they are very generous, they are in a commanding position, have a commanding sort of presence, they sweep you off your feet. You say, oh, that's that King of Pentacles, even if they're of another sign. So again, it could have to do with keeping going, you know, not giving up on yourself in terms of networking and meeting people, whether that be, again, in business, in friendship, in love, whatever. Behind the Lovers is the Three of Swords. So similar to what we saw, you know, with the love life card, maybe there had been some challenges. There are some challenges currently, but again, there's not give up. It was in reverse. So that's positive in terms of moving on. You know, and moving out of a Three of Swords kind of energy. There could be special messages. So I talked about Geminis specifically for earth signs, maybe especially in love, since we saw, or we are seeing the Lovers, and we also saw again the card about love life right after the perseverance. So if you've been having difficulty in your love life, whether that means you're single and you feel like you can't meet anybody, maybe because you are intimidating and you are, you know, it's difficult for sometimes people in power or leadership positions to find somebody because other people are afraid, they shy off, you know, or you figure you're trying to be equally yoked and there are people who don't necessarily, or you're not meeting people who are like you, right? So you're having trouble meeting somebody. That can be the case. Again, don't give up. Love life struggles will result in positive things later, especially if you are faced with a decision this week having to do with your love life and you make that decision, it's going to have positive, you know, repercussions for you. Let's do some shuffling now in front of you guys. Although I always do plenty on my own. I actually pray over my cards as I shuffle them. Each deck, I don't just say like one prayer and that's it. Each deck, as I shuffle it, I pray over the cards. Thank the universe, God, for the blessings that, you know, we've received already, for those that are to come, those that we're currently receiving, and the, you know, of course, the answers that they'll provide with relation to any of that. And I cut these. Let me mention this one then because it popped off and I was going to put it as the overall energy, but I forgot I did not cut yet. It's opportunities. An important offer will be made. Be prepared and dress to impress. Okay, that could be connected to the opportunity to make a decision this week, perhaps in your love life or in your business life. And again, you'll make the right one that will lead to something positive for you in the future. Major life change. The time is right for major life changes as a new lifestyle or location brings great joy and a trouble-free existence. Next card is in reverse. It is positive work outcomes. Nope. High Priestess. More Gemini energy perhaps, or possibly water sign as well. But of course we know Roman numeral 2 is actually the symbol of the sign of Gemini. And we have Isis appearing on this card. So again, connecting to the energy of Gemini most directly. But yeah, in the traditional tarot practice, it could also be a water sign. More importantly, it is about paying very good, close attention to your intuition, listening to it, listening to any, you know, signals from your body or inclinations that you may get, butterflies in your stomach, sinking feeling in your stomach, You know, heart palpitations, heart racing, all that kind of stuff. What your mind's telling you to do, what your heart's telling you to do. Paying attention and making your decisions accordingly. Boom. We have that High Priestess showing up as our overall energy now. Again, she is followed by the Page of Wands in reverse. Move these back here. Okay, I just opened to another High Priestess. Just want to show you. And that's where I put the Lovers on top of this other High Priestess. Listen to your intuition, have patience, and consider carefully what you want before acting. And you may be getting that message because you're thinking about something, you're worried about something, you're anxious about something or someone, and the message comes in rather than, you know, if you pray, don't worry. If you worry, don't pray. Rather than be anxious and paranoid about it, listen to the messages, whether they're psychic or whether they're physical. Again, you're getting messages through your body, your soul. Pay attention to that. And then make your decisions accordingly. I like cutting in 6 in general, but I like cutting these in a whole bunch so that they get really, really mixed up. Although, again, I shuffle them before I even turn on the camera. And I pray over them. Somebody asked me recently, actually, I got an email from, I don't know who the person was, but I received an email. My Queenofswordsthelightworker at gmail.com account. And it was asking how I managed to get, like, the right cards to show up and, like, you know, duplicates and triplicates and whatever of a card, of an energy, you know, to sort of make my reading work. And I'm like, I don't do it. You know, like I said, I pray before my, you know, it's the guides that do that. They give us the cards that are appropriate for the time, the period for which I'm reading, you know, and I just relay the messages. I'm just the messenger here. You know what I mean? Like, don't shoot the messenger. Anyway, Major Arcana card 11, Strength, which represents the sign of Leo most directly, is our overall energy. I think it's pretty powerful already that we're starting out that, you know, the two overall energies that we have are both Major Arcana cards, and they're both, you know, with these 11s or 2s, you know. I think there's already a message in that. Some of us may have both of these energies in our chart. I know I do, right? I am both a Gemini sun and a Leo rising. So there could be messages for people like us, specifically too, that are going to be coming out here. But the Strength card, all about, you know, being empowered and feeling empowered and knowing that you're empowered and then, you know, acting accordingly. Again, true strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. So they're saying if you're really strong, you're really empowered, you'll show that towards somebody else, you know, and show them some empathy, some compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. And behind that is the 8 of Wands. You've been presented with many wonderful opportunities all at once. While this may feel very stressful, remember to be grateful for the blessings that have been sent you. This is a card of movement where something had been stuck, maybe feel like nothing's happening, it's not going anywhere. All of a sudden there's movement. It's also a card of communication. This can be you communicating forgiveness, compassion to another person. Also got something about a card, you know, that had been like stuck in the mail. It may be a thank you card or a sympathy card or something that you were sending somebody. Maybe it was held up in the mail and it finally arrives. I'm not sure what that's about. That may be for somebody specifically. You know, like one person, 2 people, whatever. Also upright behind this 8 of Wands is the 5 of Summer, which is a card of like doubt, disappointment, like you really don't feel empowered. You really, you know, you feel pessimistic. You really don't feel like anything's going to change, be different, happen for you that's positive. So this is showing up to say, no, you know, like fix your thinking. Because you're like manifesting. You see the 11s, those are all about manifestation. Focus upon the fact that God loves you. Okay, so that's telling you how to change your thinking positively instead. Focus on the fact that God loves you, and always has the highest of intentions for you. A positive outlook makes it easier for you to recover from life's little difficulties so that you can move onward and upward. And again, for some, they may have something to do with a partnership, maybe specifically a romantic partnership. We have the Two of Cups here. You're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved. Don't give up. That's the second time we've heard like persevere, don't give up already. And I haven't even really started, you know, the full on the reading. And then behind that Two of Cups, like I said, you know, the reason I was saying maybe specifically romantic or emotional is because I saw the Queen of Cups there, and the Queen of Cups is, you know, a very emotional card. It's a card of nurturing other people, a reminder to also nurture ourselves. Like, don't just get caught up in taking care of others and trying to please others and make them happy. Like, do for you too. This is a time of deep emotions and heightened intuition that you can trust completely. So there's also that message of paying attention to your intuition again. Be mindful that you don't ignore your own needs while you're caring for others. So don't be so, you know, set on like making other people happy, again, pleasing others, that you end up hurting yourself, because a lot of times that's what we do, you know. We make a decision that's best for somebody else and not necessarily for us. The Queen of Cups is most directly, in traditional tarot practice, a Scorpio, but can also be a Cancer or Pisces, of course, or someone likened to those traits and attributes. She is also compassionate, loving, giving, and psychic. And then still in this energy of emotion, love, 10 of Cups, upright too. It's time to express your love and appreciation. Remember, I was saying this could be us reaching out, forgiving, showing compassion, showing love to somebody else. Yes, could be. It's time to express your love and appreciation for family, be it relatives or a chosen family of close friends. Congratulations may be in order on a happy, fulfilling marriage, as well as raising happy, balanced children. And another Two of Cups. So, you know, it's funny. I was just talking about that person that said, like, how do you get the cards to show up in duplicate and triplicate and to match each other and, you know, all that. So again, we got all these 2s or 11s, depending upon how one looks at them. A relationship that continues to grow closer. Forgiveness and the positive resolution of a conflict. So we can fix something, some issue that's been happening. And it may be life-changing. Okay, correlates very nicely to our overall energy from the fortune cookie card deck. Major life change. That can definitely be with Major Arcana card 16, life experience, or the Tower is about. Important changes are coming into your life that will require you to take action. Again, make a decision. Don't hesitate to move in new directions that you know are right for you, even if they're not necessarily right for someone else. I'm going to take you back to the Queen of Cups. All right. The last, thankfully, because this could have gone on forever, upright card in this pile is Major Arcana card 0, the Dreamer, which is the Fool in the traditional tarot. Major Arcana card 0 is the Fool. In this deck specifically, this card has always felt to me like the planet Mercury. I can't explain what it means for something to feel like the planet Mercury, but I can tell you that that's what it is. And therefore, this card for me has always represented the planet Mercury and the signs of Gemini and Virgo, which Mercury rules. Speaking of being the messenger, right? It is very Enoch or Metatron. Metatron's right on here, actually. Archangel Metatron. Gabriel. A leap of faith. Follow your dreams, at least unexpected opportunities. So especially if you receive some sort of message, inclination, direction to do so, take the leap. Boom. Now we'll get the stands. All right. So we can get into some more specifics of the week. Card most directly representing the collective this week is the Six of Swords. Upright. Very nice. This is moving on. Perhaps actually moving. Again, major life change. for some of us. Moving to another place, possibly. Moving on, leaving like difficulties and challenges behind. And this is going into calmer, stiller waters, like quite literally in this picture. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers, stuff like that. We have major arcana card Judgment. Represents the planet Pluto and the sign of Scorpio most directly, like our Queen of Cups. Work and finance. Devil in reverse. Love and relationship. 5 of Pentacles in reverse. Physical health. Wheel of Fortune. Upright. Spiritual health. 4 of Wands. Upright. Very nice. One, two, three, 4 major arcana cards in a 6-card spread, 7-card spread. That's quite a few. So the High Priestess is a very spiritual card, or can be a very spiritual card. It can also have pretty high sexual overtones and may be connected to our die that came up, the sex die, or the die that said sex. It can mean that you're in some sort of phase in your life where you're going to be much more physically attractive to others. And sometimes I find that this is not only physically attractive. I mean, that's not the traditional meaning, but like I think it's attractive in other ways too. Like you might not understand why a bunch of people seem to be drawn to you. And I think you can be attractive in other areas of your life other than things like, you know, physical attraction and romanticism and you know, sex and lust and all that kind of stuff, but also like in terms of getting a call, you know, maybe for a job. People are interested in you joining their club, being a part of their group, you know, hanging out with them. And you may say, I didn't even know these people liked me. I didn't know that they considered me a friend. And all of a sudden, you know, people are drawn to you. That's the way that I read the card. Also, it's a really, really important time, again, to rely on your intuition and any inner knowledge that you have, you know, rather than maybe your conscious mind and your intellect. You know, you could be a really smart person and want to make logic and sense out of everything. And that may be why we also had, you know, for example, the lovers show up and this other Gemini energy. We're ruled by Mercury and the King of Pentacles as well. You know, it could be Virgo, again, ruled by Mercury. So it's like we insist on things making sense and thinking things through, and stuff has to be logical, but that doesn't always, you know, sort of mesh well with spiritual life, right? So this is about not necessarily paying attention to that intellect or your conscious mind, but really to, you know, any, again, psychic awareness or inclinations that we're getting and things like that. It's also important to pay attention to your dreams right now, whether that is a sleeping dream or an awake dream. And keeping a dream diary or journal can also be a really, really good idea. I suggest sometimes people put them by their beds, you know, so like as soon as you wake up, you write it down, because if we think we're going to remember it later, I mean, I do it myself. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I've got to remember this dream and I'm going to, you know, talk to so-and-so about it. My mother, who happens to be a Queen of Cups, a Scorpio, you know, she's an amazing dream interpreter. Like my whole job, my whole job, we used to all use her. People would be like, you know, can we call your mother and ask her about this dream or that dream? But even sometimes I forget, you know, what my dream was, and that's not good. So yeah, dream journal, put it right by your bed. As soon as you wake up, you write it down right away, and then, you know, you don't have to worry about forgetting or not forgetting. You can always go back and refer. Synchronicities are likely to, you know, surface right now. And, you know, this is the time when, especially if you are male and or masculine, that the High Priestess can represent a woman that you know, just like you want bad. Yeah, that's the easiest way to say, like, you want this woman bad. Or this person, I could say person, you know, feminine energy. But you might not be able to get them. You might feel that you're not able to get them. So this can also be where I was talking about the lacking of confidence and feeling like you don't measure up or whatever may come into play. And remember to be yourself. The person likes you. The person loves you. They love you for who and what you are, and not what you may feel you need to be you know, in comparison to them. Okay. So that's the High Priestess. In work, it's possible that a pleasant surprise is coming your way, although, you know, this could be a pay raise or something like that. It's more likely to take some sort of different form, and it could simply be that somebody makes your life easier, like at work, you know, by changing some sort of rule or law, or saying you can work from home, right, or something like that. Makes your life easier. They may come up with a new process or system or something. If you're in the process of changing jobs or even thinking about it, this can be a really good time to keep your eyes and ears open for something new. And I think it's important for me. I'm mentioning the work part as I sit here staring at the devil in reverse. So we'll, you know, get to that card in a minute, and you'll see more why. Also, maybe it's important to talk about love. Well, I already talked about how attractive it could be, but you may find yourself with love, looking at the Five of Pentacles, and all of a sudden something maybe even unseen that we don't understand is changing in our lives to make us more open to receiving and getting out there, you know, to feeling more empowered and stronger. You know, it pairs well with the High Priestess in terms of love, because this can really be like just a magical, you know, time for anybody, you know, interested in love, for lack of a better way to put it. Again, especially if you are a woman, female, and or feminine energy, you may, you know, very well find people throwing themselves at you, and you might be like, what's this about? You know, the problem with this, though, is that you will attract both, you know, the good and the bad, and it's not always easy to discern which is which. So that can be, you know, problematic depending upon, you know, what you're dealing with. You have like this really strong power of femininity at your disposal right now. And, you know, at first glance, feeling, inkling, it may, you know, seem really, really awesome, really, really great, but it can be abused, and you don't want to abuse it because it could backfire on you, you know. Think about, you know, like I've talked about how if you've watched me for a while, you know that I am not a witch. I don't consider myself a witch, although I no judgment against those who identify as witches. I'm not a witch. I make that very clear. I'm an angelic. If you're saying, well, what are you? I'm an angelic. But I don't, part of being a witch or practicing magic in that sense, from that perspective, often tends to involve manipulating energy, and other people's energy and other people's free will, other things that I don't believe in doing. You know, like love spells, for example. You know, make this person obsessed with you. Why would you want to make somebody obsessed with you? But again, no judgment. Maybe there's an answer to that. It's not something that I would be interested in doing, and it's something that I could definitely see backfiring. Because obsess, to me, the word obsessed, it denotes, you know, an extreme situation, right? There's an extremism. I don't just, you know, I'm not just interested. I can't think of anything else, you know, so I'm all the way, that's toxic. Why would you want that? So that backfires. You see what I'm saying? I said all that to say, this is what I mean by backfiring. Okay. All right, so I think we touched on all of those, all like the major things that are jumping out here. Well, maybe the surrounding energy was just, well, I guess we kind of covered the surrounding energy too, in terms of judgment and not judging other people, but in that it could happen with somebody with you, like that's close to you. You could find yourself getting new friends. So this is close friends, family members, co-workers, and things like that that are surrounding you. Can be where this High Priestess energy shows up in your life. So moving on to the Six of Swords, the card that most directly represents the collective this week. Great time for travel of any sort. It can also indicate, you know, again, metaphoric movement in terms of a change. Whether it's, you know, a change like from within, that you feel like you are moving as an individual, or there's movement like you change your way of thinking, or some sort of practice, an ideology, or, you know, it's around you. And this is a change for the, I've never pulled the Six of Swords and had it be negative, you know, whether it's upright or reverse. But people tend to say this usually means change for the better. In my experience, it always does. So I'm not even going to say usually. And that's, again, that's whether the context is internal or external, right? It also, is about like a reduction in stress and strain. Again, you may have been going through something difficult prior. A lot of times when the Six of Swords shows up, it'll be in the same reading where the Ten of Swords will also show up. And both are an indication to leave the past behind you, or leave the difficult time that you were experiencing behind you, and allow yourself to move on and move forward. Definitely a time to sort of like regroup, and if you've been like feeling sort of out of sorts and everything, just like gather yourself, even take a short break or change of scenery if you're able to do that. And that doesn't mean necessarily like something that you have to invest money in, right? It doesn't necessarily have to cost money. It could be meditation, you know what I mean? Whatever works for you. So with work, you may make the decision or be in the process of making the decision to leave a job. Again, I'm jumping out and mentioning this because of this devil in reverse that we have here too. And the reason for that is that the job just no longer works for you. That's what you've decided. Trust that the universe is taking you where you want to be with this card showing up, right? It's moving you to where you actually want to be or need to be or destined to be. And don't hesitate to ask for help or, to seek new information, advice, insight as, you're getting your bearings in a new environment. If you do get a new job, this can also be about a literal change in the place where you do business. So maybe you have your own business and you go from, a room in your house to an actual storefront or an actual office out, in an outside building or something, or, something like that. Whatever the case is, you get the idea, and it's a good thing. Okay. Love and relationship, definitely change of scenery can be a possibility. Again, maybe travel together, movement. If you're already in a relationship, maybe you take your mate on a trip or they take you on one, even if it's just, like a day trip or outside and, touching the ground, touching the grass, maybe you're having a picnic or something like that. If you're single and looking, this card can, point to a need to get out of your usual routines and maybe the places where you usually hang out, usual haunts, as they say, if you want to meet somebody new. So that also goes with some of the cards that we saw from the fortune cookie deck. And, again, if you get invited somewhere, what was it? If you get invited somewhere, make sure you go. I shuffled that away. So I was going to go look at it and remind myself of exactly what it said. But it was something like that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like if you get out and if you get invited somewhere, actually go. Enjoy yourself. So I'm going to move on to the surrounding energy, Major Arcana card Judgment, which can be a card about jumping to conclusions or decisions, like rush decisions, right? Rushing to judgment, as they say. Be careful about doing that, about being too hasty. If you're prone to such things, especially, this is a clear signal to you to slow down and give things a little bit more thought, give people a little bit more thought, consideration, more chances. This can also be a time of really deep and or fundamental spiritual awakening, especially in consideration of the High Priestess also showing up. The two of them together could be warning about guilt feelings and not allowing them. So again, changing your thinking, changing your mindset to something more positive. They can also speak about maybe generating the ability to learn. I've explained to people, again, those of you who watch me are familiar with me, and a lot of people are not familiar with me. Maybe I'll talk about that in a second, but are not familiar with me anymore, which is kind of interesting. It's one of the effects, I guess, of the YouTube. But those of you who are, then you will know that I am claircognizant, meaning sometimes I just know stuff because I just know, and I'll look it up, I'll Google, I'll share it with you, And, I'll ask, or suggest other people get in on it. Like, okay, the universe told me this or taught me this, and now I want you to, also learn it or look into it and research it further or whatever the case is. Some of you will know that this is how I know tarot. I never studied tarot, went to tarot school, any of that. I just know. It's how I knew supreme math. I just knew the alphabet. Like, it all came to me one day. Freemason language, all of this stuff just like came to me one day. And that's how I got into gematria and all of that. Anyway, enough about me. I'm trying to explain what I mean by claircognizance. And these two cards together can mean the same for you. Long story short, right? An ability to learn through sort of like mental osmosis. All of a sudden it's in my head. It's part of, and for me, it's a soul knowledge. It's like my soul remembers how to do these things, and that's how I know. And you could have the same thing, but maybe yours has been like asleep. Those gifts have been asleep, and so they awaken this week. Again, very, very spiritual energies and cards. This could be going on with somebody around you, close to you, close friend, family member, co-worker, and or you may come into a mental awareness, seemingly through osmosis, right, claircognizance, about a situation involving your surrounding energies, close friends, family members, co-workers, something going on at your job or whatever, okay? Can definitely be the message here. Judgment is also one of my favorite cards because in another sense, it's about abundance that's earned. So it's a positive card for me. It tends to mean like we're going to be rewarded somehow, whether it's, here on this plane, and we're going to see it immediately here on this plane, or it's in a spiritual sense, which ultimately will show up down here too, because as above, so below. It's a positive thing. Judgment is also about second chances. So a second opportunity, or maybe a chance to make something right, to right or wrong. You rushed to judgment before. You can correct yourself now. All of these types of things. Specifically with regard to work, your efforts are being watched. So this is an important time to put in maybe extra effort and maybe more attention to detail than you otherwise would. And the news is ultimately likely to be good. Like, people are they're watching you and they're going to like what they see from you. If you've been trying hard and doing your best, your efforts are very likely to pay off. If you've been slacking off, then now's the time to get the program, and before any permanent damage is done, to your job or your career as a whole. Love and relationship. If you're already in a relationship, this can be a make or break period. We've got to make a final judgment call right now with judgment showing up. This is the time to get very, very clear about what you want out of life and out of your relationships, and then take the steps, to make them come about. If you're seeking new love or new relationship, then it may come about in the very, very near future, but you may need to take steps to make sure that you aren't leaping to conclusions, rushing to judgment, positive or negative, about your new love interest or your new love, and vice versa. It's kind of like a slow and steady wins the race. And again, represents the planet Pluto and the sign of Scorpio. Planet Pluto is very, very slow moving. Scorpios are very, very, I don't want to say that they're slow, but they are like super observant. Like, they don't rush to move. They're taking all this stuff in, and they're naturally psychic. And so they're paying attention to messages they're getting from within too. And you may not know what's going on within them or what they're thinking, or why it's taking so long for them to let you in on it, but they don't care. They don't care. And they'll go under, they'll take a break, go under. You might not hear from them. You be calling them, they'll ignore you. The phone, they won't answer the phone, they won't respond to your text, whatever. It doesn't mean they dislike you or that they're mad at you. They just take time to themselves. And again, I know this because I surround myself with Scorpios. My mom is one, my daughter's one, man was one. One of my best friends is one. So this is how they are. and don't take it personal. But that could be happening, right? So, why they're making some sort of judgment. And this could be guidance for you to maybe take on a little bit of this persona with regard to the things and the people that are surrounding you, right? Take your time to pay attention to all the messages and stuff first before, again, rushing to judgment. So moving on specifically to work and finance. And the devil in reverse. So this is the time to, when you may realize that a job or a career that you expected to be permanent is not or won't be. So you could be wanting to leave your job. Your job could be wanting you to leave. Maybe this is tied to COVID. That was one of the things that got into my head. And I think so like I said, I notice a lot of, I'm a high priestess. I notice a lot of synchronicities and signs. And earlier on the news, I had seen, how they have like the weather or like the stock numbers in the bottom, like a little ticker. They had instead this COVID number that 44.4, so 4 million cases of COVID are, existing, I think, in the country. I don't think it was around the world. I think it was just the United States, but that part I could be wrong about. Maybe it was globally. But the point is, the number was 444. And so I had, started thinking some things about COVID. And so I think that's why that's coming to my mind first and foremost now. Like with vaccine mandates, for example, they're around different cities in the country, United States, where they are taking advantage of the opportunity to enforce vaccines or force people to get vaccines because it's a pandemic. So normally where maybe they wouldn't be allowed to step into your life this way because of the emergency situation, mayors and governors and all over the country are enforcing these like vaccine mandates. And so people who refuse to get, as employers, right? And private employers have the same rights. It's not just government agencies. And so people who refuse to get vaccinated, and maybe this is why I was thinking about government agencies, are being forced to leave their jobs. So this is largely impacting police officers, for example, who their highest rate of death right now is not like a heart attack from stress in the job or not being shot, in the line of duty. It is COVID. COVID has taken out more police officers in the year 2020 and already so far in the year 2021 than anything else. Isn't that scary? But a lot of them will leave if they're forced to get vaccinated. So they're going to be leaving their jobs. This is happening with nurses and other people who work. You might not be a health professional, but maybe you work in a hospital. And I can tell you from the other side of it, because my mother is a stage 4 cancer survivor. And she went in before the pandemic, right before February 2020, for a long-term rehabilitation, right? As she makes her full comeback to her, her full self. She's fully restored and recovered from having had such a serious bout with cancer. She's in this place relaxing, and she got kind of locked in there because of the quarantine and the pandemic. But I'm telling you all this to say, while she's been there, or while she was there, back and forth, like once the original, national and global emergency was over and restrictions began to be lifted, they would continue to go back and forth on quarantine all the time because people who worked there kept bringing COVID back to the place. So you're talking about a place that's only for sick people, and most of them are seniors, and so they're being exposed to the beautician, the janitor, nurses, all these people that don't want to get the vaccine. So from that perspective, yeah, if you have a family member that's going through that, you want those people that don't have a vaccine out of there, of course, especially if they're seniors, because, of course, they're more, or they're people that are sick, because they are more prone to catching COVID from these people, whether they're unvaccinated people or vaccinated people. Because vaccinated people can also spread the disease too, and primarily to unvaccinated people. That would be who would not only get it for the most part, but out of all those who get it, because sometimes people who are vaccinated get it also, the unvaccinated ones are the ones who tend to end up in the hospital on ventilators and then ultimately dead. So I'm going all into all of this not to be political or to make you guys change your ideas or feelings to one way or another. But it's definitely coming up with regard to this devil in reverse and work in terms of people in droves, so like large groups of people experiencing this thing of needing to leave a job, and just feeling like all of a sudden that their job or their career is not secure, even if you felt all the time a sense of security. This card shows up with a reminder that no job is permanent, like even if it feels that way or if they tell you that, like, oh, don't worry, you're fine here, we're never going to let you go. That's not the case. Or maybe it's a company that's going out of business, right? Because they never expected to go out of business, or they did expect you to be able to grow old and retire there, but now they're not going to be there anymore, or they're cutting down on staff, or whatever the case. So some of you may experience that, and it's about being ready for it in the sense that this doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? Because information and knowledge is power. So knowing that you have options is a far more like powerful place for you to be. Remember the strength card? You're empowered. Something is moving. You may be what's moving or who's moving, in terms of moving on to another job, and that's okay, is the message. In recent years, we've seen people lose benefits, lose pensions, and things that they were never supposed to. I don't even know what I want to say here. Your principles, your happiness, like if these are the trade-offs, if these are the things that you have to consider, then again, think of the Queen of Cups and putting yourself first and doing what you think is best in your life after you observe and consider, what's up. The devil is about realizing you're not trapped, right? Unless you allow yourself to be trapped. It's like, it's up to you and your thought, your positive outlook or negative. And you decide whether you have options or you don't. If you're looking for a job right now, this might not be the week where you find one. There may be, but, next week's another week, right? Tomorrow's another day, as they say. So moving on to love and relationship, the Five of Pentacles. Again, for reasons that you don't even know. So like, or realize like what's happening. All of a sudden you may feel that something that's been like holding you back in terms of love and relationship is, like you're breaking free from it. And suddenly you feel more open to love, more able to, take a chance of being vulnerable, let your guard down. And it just happens like almost magically. Right? It's this. And this. And this. So, if you're already committed, the relationship may suddenly just all of a sudden become, just more satisfying, more pleasing, and you guys may get closer. Maybe more deeper, the connection. The only problem this card, can point to is if your relationship has been built on not like a solid foundation, more so like, well, it's just us against like a cruel world and we have nothing else in common except for like we've both been miserable, like a misery loves company type of thing. If it's been built on that to survive, that's another attitude, again, that you got to change into something more positive. Doesn't mean you can't be with this person. So if you're single and looking again, you're more open to love and you can find somebody. And if you get invited out, you should definitely take advantage. That could be an opportunity for you to meet somebody. Moving on to health, in the Wheel of Fortune upright, Wheel of Fortune most directly represents the sign of Sagittarius. The planet Jupiter, which is Sagittarius' ruler. It's a positive card. It's all about a reversal of fortune, usually for the good. And so it's about change, right? It's about something changing, energy changing, and usually very quickly, very suddenly. The card warns also that resisting change can be bad for our health. You know, that we should be doing whatever it takes to keep our stress levels down. Yeah, not, you know, fighting the current. Relax, chill, keep your stress level down. Calmer, stiller waters. We're just easing through life. This, you know, now we're leaving headache and challenges again behind. But when in doubt about what to do, then go back to the basics, right? Change back to the basics. Proper nutrition, enough rest, enough exercise, you know, meditation, yoga, whatever. These types of things. Whatever you know to do that. The other stuff is not working. Spiritual health, Four of Wands. And I talked a lot about other people like getting in the way of your decisions, or you making a decision that is more beneficial to other people than perhaps yourself, and warning against that type of behavior this week. And this card really sort of like reaffirms that that was the correct message that I was supposed to give to you guys. Because spiritually, this is saying that if your friends and family don't agree with your spirituality, fuck them, basically. Don't let that bother you. You see things the way that you do for a reason. So be open to considering the input of others, but know that ultimately you must, and you have the right to, make up your own mind, make your own judgments, make your own judgment calls. This card in this position of surrounding energy in relation to this one can be about other people in your sphere, or other energies, elements in your sphere around you, trying to control your, you know, beliefs, or influence toward their own, your beliefs, be it like something having to do with religiosity versus spirituality, you know, what would be the case with these two, something that you think is okay, you're a witch, and people disagree with it, they are judging you for that. It's important that you know, remain firm and confident that you can be who and what you want to be, and not be concerned with the judgments of others. We'll get even more clarity now with the other decks. So joining the Six of Swords, we have a Nine of Wands. Spoke of the Nine of Wands earlier, all about making sure you keep going. Don't let the fact that you've been challenged before cause you to think that you're like down and out. This card shows up to say, nope, keep going. And then you're going to, you know, you're reaching this time where you're moving into a smoother, again, easier to navigate time in your phase in your life. You've worked hard and what you've created is impressive and worthy of protecting. Annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry. You'll get through them. We'll sail right through them, just as you have in the past. Surrounding energy, right? Joining the Major Arcana card Judgment, we have the Three of Cups, a celebration, a wedding, a graduation, or a birth announcement, and the need to have more fun. So again, surrounding energy, if you get invited out by anybody, there's anything going on around you, definitely take advantage. There could be a positive reunion with somebody, or something in your life. It could be because abundance, you've earned, you deserve, you've warranted something you've done. This luck or abundance that's coming to you. And so that may be what the good thing is. The positive thing is you may have a second chance or be reunited, maybe specifically with a Scorpio. We got cups. Or again, somebody surrounding you may be experiencing one of these things, and maybe they're coming under fire, under judgment, and just know that it's still that's wrong, and it's still a positive thing. Maybe somebody had a baby and they're too young, or somebody is judging them, saying they're too young, they're too old, they're too whatever. It's still a positive time. Allow it to be a positive time, a happy time. You get the idea. Joining the Devil in reverse for work and finance, we have the Six of Pentacles. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, or receive a grant or scholarship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others through donations of time or money to reputable charities. So this could mean, like, even in a time of need where there's difficulty, there's strife, you feel like, leaving, or you're being forced to leave, or something's going on with your work, with your finances, there is some sort of timely assistance that comes in and helps you through. Whether that's in the form of actual money or advice, or, somebody tells you where there's a new job available or whatever. Some sort of timely assistance to help you through this, any challenges you're experiencing. Love and relationship, joining the Five of Pentacles in reverse, we have the Seven of Cups, a complex decision. The need to do research, stop procrastinating. And for me, in love and relationship, this card can have to do with one night stand. So it may be tied to the sex die. It may be just because you're feeling like you're not being held back anymore. So you're going to get back out there, and you're going to, you're going to get all the way back out there. And that's cool. No judgment from me. Enjoy, celebrate, right? Live. This can also be a decision maybe about your next move in terms of your love, your relationships, and what you're going to do, whether you're single or partnered. Physical health. We have the King of Swords joining the Wheel of Fortune. The King of Swords is brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice and balance mental and emotional considerations. This is definitely, saying what you meaning what you say. So in relation to your health, that could be about like facing what it is you're dealing with, and again, acting accordingly. This may be about an actual professional that you need to seek, or that is helping you, as in like a doctor, and the need to follow, the instructions in terms of keeping your stress levels down and keeping your health in check. A Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius may be, involved in your health situation, your health matter. And the King of Swords on its own, specifically with regard to health, guides us to be like an active participant in our medical treatment or needs. Like if you're having symptoms of something and you're not sure exactly what they point to, maybe they can mean several different things, the medical practitioner, what are they going to do? Like a bunch of tests or something. So you still have to be educating yourself on what the possible tests are, or what the possible diagnoses are, and sort of going into the office like somewhat informed, like an informed consumer, right? The best consumer that you can be when you head in there. And then again, listen to the practitioner, listen to your intuition. Do I feel right about what it is they're saying to me? Do I not? How can I help myself? How can I reduce my stress level? How can I reduce this pain or other thing that I'm experiencing in sort of cooperation with this other stuff that the doctor's telling me? And lastly, for spiritual health, we have this very spiritual card. It's the Eight of Cups, the desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. So this could certainly be through what one is going, and maybe the people that surround them don't get that, and that is just too bad. Again, from the fortune teller deck, or fortune cookie deck rather, I have a fortune teller deck too. That's why I got like... Anyway, joining the Nine of Wands and the Six of Swords, we have love. So this could specifically be with regard to a romantic relationships, just as when I started going through the cards and shuffling and all that, it looked like somebody was being guided to persevere. That's even when I mentioned the Nine of Wands, guided to persevere in a romantic relationship or situation, or in their love life, even if they're single, and to don't worry, things are going to get better for you. And so now we have love showing up to sort of reinforce that and reaffirm that was the correct message. Love is in the air. It's a great time for a commitment and for taking relationships to the next level. Maybe you've been waiting for a long time. When is this person going to ask me to be official with them? When are they going to propose? When are we going to get married? When are we going to move in together? When are we going to be exclusive? And so now that could be happening this week. And that could be another cause for celebration with somebody that is surrounding you. It is abundance that is earned. You put the work into the relationship, and so you're being rewarded with a new level of commitment. Surrounding energy, joining that Three of Cups and that Judgment card, we have society. Say yes to all of the wonderful invitations coming your way. Excellent networking opportunities and new love interests for singles will be the result. It's funny because I just brought this back up when I was describing what this card meant, and we have another reconfirmation, from the cards that it was the correct message. Joining the Six of Pentacles and the Devil in reverse for work and finance, we have reflection. Friendship in your life may come to an end. Others could blossom or become stronger. And so that may be tied maybe specifically to the Six of Pentacles in terms of from where timely assistance comes or doesn't come. Or we could be leaving a friend behind at a job, that we're no longer going to be at, or vice versa. Love and relationship, joining the Seven of Cups and the Five of Pentacles in reverse. We have achievement. Enjoy the limelight that you've earned. You've earned it, although on the family front, someone's health could cause some worries and sleepless nights. So enjoy the fact, again, maybe there's the limelight, maybe all the attention that you're getting, all the people that are attracted to you suddenly, and you've earned it because you've done that healing work to get your Five of Pentacles to be from upright, where you're feeling left out in the cold, to flip upside down and know that you're worthy of actual true love. So enjoy that, but at the same time, you may have something going on in your life, your family life, that is sort of distracting you from love and relationship. Maybe that's not your priority this week. Health and physical health. Joining the King of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. We have burnout, right? That could definitely be tied to stress. Remember, this is about your stress level. Your hard work will see results, but your health needs to be maintained. Okay, so more reaffirmation. Again, check with your doctor. Okay, remember the King of Swords. Check with a professional, your doctor, a dentist, and a health professional, and try to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Like I said, when all else fails, especially get back to the basics, healthy lifestyle, eating, make sure you're eating right or enough or not too much. Make sure you're getting enough rest, sleep, time to just chill, all those things that we know are conducive to good health. And last but not least, spiritual health. You have luck. A sudden change of luck is likely. Things are working in your favor. It's an excellent time for networking, and that may be because of positive thinking. That may be because of spirituality. Maybe because of manifestation, right? You've drawn new energy into your life, and you, if you follow the guidance of the cards or your own inclinations, if you so have them, to do this, you've rid yourself or pushed away the negative influences and energies that were trying to block you. And so you're growing, right? This is the Eight of Cups, all about spiritual growth, enlightenment. This is all things that are conducive to manifestation and luck, if you want to call it that. Hope you guys have enjoyed this weekly general reading. If you don't mind sticking, I know it's been longer than I think it has, I believe. It feels like it's been long, but not long in the sense like, oh my God, like when is it going to be over? I just feel like I've been at it for a while. Anyway, if you want to stick around some more, I'm going to go over what else is going on in the world, the universe, this week that may influence us, like the planetary calendar and such. If you just wanted to watch the cards, that's fine with me too. I appreciate you coming by. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment before going. For the rest of you, I just picked up my laptop and am logging in so that we can go over those other things. Bing! There it is. Laptop just came on. We can go over what else is going on. So there's nothing on the Hebrew or Islamic calendars this week. I talked about already the energies and the feast days that I said would last several days on the Hindu or calendar. Well, not just Hindus. It's just largely in India, but specifically or especially with Hindus in observance of the new moon and their prayers for their dead and their ancestors. That continues. On the Christian calendar, we do have one feast day that I'm going to discuss, and it is, well, actually there's two. I'm only going to discuss one though. On October 12th, which is Tuesday, we have Our Lady of the Pillar. That's the one I'm going to talk about. But actually October 13th is the last for this year of the 6 celebrations of Our Lady of Fatima. So remember, Our Lady of Fatima is a 6-month-long thing, or it's every month for 6 months on the 13th, beginning in May through October. So October 13th will be the last Our Lady of Fatima for the year. But again, the 12th is what we're going to talk about, Our Lady of the Pillar. And for that, I went to a site that I don't think I've ever been to before, Roman-Catholic-Saints.com. It just disappeared. Whoa, okay. And it's back. I don't know what that was about. Our Lady of the Pillar. In Zaragoza, Spain, the Feast of Our Lady of the Pillar is a day of the special rejoicing. Our Lady of the Pillar is the patroness of policemen. Isn't that funny how I talked about policemen this week? And I was moved to talk about how COVID is their biggest killer over the past couple of years. So there may be something to that, okay? Not maybe. I'm sure there is. Patroness of policemen and postmen. So something happened. I talked about something being stuck in the mail too. And I said maybe there's a sympathy card or a thank you, somebody trying to express some sort of sentiment that could be tied to loss or pain or whatever. So again, I'm sure there was something to that I was made to say that. Anyway, it's also a day that's treated like a holiday and commemorated with processions, conventions, and other festivities. The image of Our Lady of the Pillar is a wooden statue decorated with gold. It is about 15 inches high. 15 makes total sense to me because 15 is 1 and 5, which equals 6, and 6 is a number that represents Mary. The crown adorning the head of the statue is very intricate. It was made in 44 days. I also talked about the 444 and the COVID. This is another 44 days by 33 workmen. In it, there are 2,836 diamonds. 19 is what 2,836 equals. So this numerology is very interesting. They're cut triangularly. So they're cut in the shape of a triangle, which has its own spiritual meanings and connotations, right? And also is another 3, brings in the energy of 3 again. Also, this statue surrounded by or contains 2,725 roses. 7, divinity, God. 145 pearls. Could be seen as another 19. 74 emeralds, 11. 62 rubies, 8. 8 sometimes associated with Mary. As a matter of fact, I think last week we had a feast day on the 8th that was from Mary. Lastly, 46 sapphires, which is 10, another derivative of 19. And the crown of the infant is identical with that of the virgin, except in size, a difference in size. The history of this particular statue of Our Lady is unique and quite interesting. St. James the Greater, one of our Lord's 12 apostles and one of the sons of thunder, fearlessly traversed the lands now known as Spain and Portugal to preach the faith to those who lived in spiritual darkness. Although he worked tirelessly and suffered greatly in his labors, his efforts in the region bore little fruit. The Blessed Virgin Mary was still living in year 40. She was still living in year 40. So she was 40 years old. Another 4. And was aware of the St. James and his distress. Like a true mother, and in order to console the saint, she miraculously bilocated hundreds of miles to appear to St. James while he was praying. So even though she was wherever she was in the physical form, she sort of made herself appear and as the form of an image spiritually to St. James where he was praying along the banks of the Ebro River in Zaragoza. When the saint looked up from his prayers, the Blessed Virgin stood before him upon a pillar supported by angels, and she encouraged St. James by revealing to him the great faith that the people of Spain would possess in the future due to his sacrifices. She gave St. James her effigy, requesting that he build a chapel in her honor. St. James complied, constructing the first church in Spain. This event is first known and the earliest recognized apparition of Our Lady, and one which took place while she was still living on earth. It's interesting to consider that in her book, The Mystical City of God, the Venerable Mary of Agreda wrote that the Blessed Virgin was transported to Spain from Jerusalem, carried in a cloud by angels. It was these angels who also crafted the pillar of marble and created the statue of Mary, their queen, holding her divine son. To the original small chapel, a much larger church has been added over the years, called Our Lady of the Pillar. During those many years, the kisses of the pilgrims to the shrine have made a hole in the pedestal so large that a man's head can rest in the hole, right, from all the kisses. Many miracles have been performed at the shrine of Our Lady of the Pillar. One in the year 1640, when the limb of a man, Juan, a native of Calanda, was cured. In remembrance of the apparition of Our Lady, the people of Zaragoza made a vow in the year 1642, which is another 13, or 4, 11, to honor always Mary as the patroness of their city, which 13, of course, another Mary number. More than 100 years ago, when Zaragoza was besieged by a large French army, a few men and women with 16 cannon and some shotguns defended the town for 2 months. The French eventually defeated the defenders of Zaragoza and sacked the famous town. They took everything, but they did not dare touch the treasures of Our Lady of the Pillar. One of the generals was an exception, boldly taking one of the jewels to carry home to his wife, offering the Virgin in exchange a valuable gift. In his next battle, the general's leg was taken by a cannonball. It was during this terrible siege that the people began to recite the verse so well known to the Spanish. Quote, "The Virgin of the Pillar says she does not want to be French. She desires to be the leader of the Aragon troops," end quote. In the year 1730, another 11, Pope Innocent the 13th authorized veneration of Our Lady of the Pillar throughout the entire Spanish Empire. And it is under this title that the Blessed Virgin is invoked as the patroness of Aragon. Saint Pope Pius X conferred upon the image a canonical coronation in the year 1905, which equals 6. The end. So that's it in terms of the theological calendars. Now moving on to the planetary calendar. Beginning today, Saturn Direct. Well, tonight, 10:17 p.m. Maybe that's why we started with the King of Pentacles. Saturn goes direct in the sign of Aquarius. 6 degrees Aquarius at 10:17 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time. October 12th at 11:25 p.m. we'll experience the first quarter moon, 20 degrees Capricorn. On the 18th, two major events. At 1:30 a.m., Jupiter goes direct, 22 degrees Aquarius. Also on the 18th, at 11:17 a.m., Mercury goes direct, 10 degrees Libra. And I'm sorry, those two are next week. I mentioned those two, but they fall into next week's reading. This reading goes through the 16th. So that's it. On the 10th, Saturn Direct. On the 12th, the first quarter moon in Capricorn. Hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. I will be back with love. Namaste.